Welcome to today's episode of The Breach Room, where we sit down with the sharpest minds in the cybersecurity industry to uncover the truth about navigating today's trends while mitigating risk. This episode is powered by Alter Aim. At Alter Aim, we help cybersecurity companies break free from the outdated lead generation methods such as networking events, conferences, and relying on word of mouth, which is often wishful thinking, hoping and praying somebody else is doing your job for you, sending you clients. With our battle tested, data driven client acquisition method, we will bring you a consistent pipeline of your ideal clients with no chasing, no guesswork, just predictable compounding growth. If you're in cybersecurity and you're looking to scale your business and see results within the first week, DM me the word growth for a free consultation. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Today we have a very special guest who is the CEO of Care Technology Group. Thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about your story, Isaac, and introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. My history in IT spans about a little over 2 decades. I worked for various corporations from MetLife, JP Morgan, Stern, Chase, Thomson Reuters, KPMG, a lot of accounting firms. Also, then I switched over into healthcare, where from there, I basically saw a lot of issues with cybersecurity and technology in general, where I felt a lot of the people, technology wise, they didn't really care of what they did. They just more about it was about closing tickets. That's all they really cared about. Let's close tickets. It really kind of got to me where I saw, for example, this was in a nursing home during COVID where we had patients, they had a network outage and
Okay.
people were like, who cares? What's the big deal? They'll get over it. We'll wait another day to call up the ISP to get these things resolved. That's what really got to me. Here you are, it's during COVID. People actually can't see their loved ones during this time period. The only way they could able to communicate was using FaceTime, any of those type of things. And here we are telling them we'll wait another day. It bothered me. So I decided to, on my own, open up a company called Care Technology Group. And what we do is we actually show that we do care. We listen to our clients. My clients are in healthcare and in the financial world. Those are two areas that our verticals. We concentrate on making sure that from a finance perspective, things are up to date, secure. Vendors, clients have issues, we're able to properly triage it, get them the best solutions as possible. And same thing in healthcare. The verticals don't for us doesn't really matter. It's technology, it's cybersecurity. It applies equally. One has the FTC safeguard rules. The other one has HIPAA. Either way, the rules are very similar, and that's what we try to secure.
Yeah, and that's super important, especially when you're talking about how people communicate during times of distress. What really inspired you to become an entrepreneur? Was that something that you always had in mind, or was it something that felt more like a calling to you?
To me, it was a little of both. I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur, never knew how. How do you go about doing this? I think a lot of people struggle with that question. It's like everyone goes, be your own boss. There's a lot of risk involved. It's not simple as just saying, be your own boss. I have sleepless nights, constantly looking at, from my perspective, new cybersecurity threats that are coming down the pipes, zero trust issues, all these things that are coming as an entrepreneur, it falls on your shoulders. Being an employee, it's great. 9 to 5, I go home. Yes, I'll work overtime here and that, but the responsibility doesn't fall on your shoulder, really. It's basically like, where does the buck stop? And it doesn't really stop by you until you're an entrepreneur or you own a business. So
Exactly.
that's what it really was. And again, I always wanted to do it. I just didn't have the opportunity. And I think COVID gave me that opportunity to say something has to change in my life. While it's great, I can't actually be on the bottom. When I see technology people, like I mentioned, operating on the bottom, just close the tickets, we'll wait another day. That's the bottom. Do I want to hang around that area at the bottom, or do I actually want to excel in my personal life and in my professional life? And that gave me the push to go out and become an entrepreneur, open my own company, and thank God it's thriving. Unfortunately, for the current environment, it's thriving.
And I applaud that, like being able to take that risk. It's something that not a lot of people do. They end up getting stuck in the corporate ladder and trap and settling for just closing those tickets. When you first started, was it just you, and did you decided to quit your job and you start this on your own and just try to get some clients, or how was that journey for you?
So it started as myself, but then I quickly grew. That's when I started hiring a person to assist me. At the same time, I was juggling a job, trying to, after hours. I had someone working during the day. I did it at night. Finally
Wow.
came to a point where you had to say, I can't juggle both worlds. but one has to give. And I felt becoming an entrepreneur itself, the risks come with great rewards. And it's better to become an entrepreneur, take the risks, and make it, do something. And I think that's one of the best things about being an entrepreneur is it's on a ladder. You just can't stay on a ladder. You're either going up or you're going down. It is up to you to decide what is your success. Is your success about to grow, or are you going to be very happy about just, mediocrity, just being on the ladder? But in essence, you're not standing on a ladder. You're either going up or you're going down. And there's no one to blame. You can't blame your bosses. You can't blame anyone. It's you. So that's why I look at it.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like there's two types of people, like let's say a 9 to 5 employee that has a job at a mall working on the food court, like he goes to work and at the end of the month, he's going to get $2,000 in his bank account. And that person is just looking for something safe, something certain. But as an entrepreneur, you're always making big decisions that will change the trajectory, not only of your business, but of your life. And sometimes there's family and different things that depend on you. But you need to step into that path of possibility, even though it's not as certain. And being able to embrace that. And like you said, you cannot point any fingers to anybody around you. You're responsible of your success.
And not just yours, your employees. And I think that's another big thing as an entrepreneur having employees. My responsibility is to them first. For example, when you talk about payroll and your bank accounts, I don't look at my bank accounts. I have to make sure my vendors are paid, my employees are paid, everything is paid first. You're last on the list. While everyone thinks, oh, entrepreneur, it's amazing. There's a lot of stress involved. You're not the priority. You're the worker to your employees now. It used to be to an employer. Now you work for employees, making sure they're successful, they have what they need to be successful, and you're just really last on the list.
Yeah, I think there's this book that says leaders eat last. You have to make sure that everybody around you has food on their plate and then you pay yourself, right? So it really turns the tables in that sense. And so can you share a little bit more about your role as CEO and how it fits into the bigger picture?
So as a CEO, other responsibilities, like I said, there's really sleepless nights, always being on top of the next exploit, always trying to figure out what can we do to improve the current services? What can I do to provide better security? What can we do? It's always the what. That's the question you always ask. What? Like I said, you're either growing, you're improving, or you're stagnant. When it comes to being the CEO, it's really your responsibility to push your company forward to be at the head of all the risks at the head of everything. In the cybersecurity world, things have changed. People don't realize that things have totally changed since back from the 2000s, where my computer has a virus. Okay, fine, we'll clean your virus. You'll get semantic McAfee, whatever you like to clean your virus up. That world is gone. It's like you want to wish those days were back. Those were simpler days. With cleaning for a virus, simpler. Okay, you just run the scripts. It'll take time. Simpler. When you talk about ransomwares and cybersecurity issues, it is constantly evolving. What happened yesterday is different today. From the zero trust issues, you have to making sure, for example, I don't know if you're aware of this, Sonic Wall had an exploit where people were able to hijack the SSL, VPNs, where they're able to now go through your Sonic walls. I actually have a colleague that had ransomware that way. That's again another thing. Everyone thinks Microsoft, they're safe, they're safe, they're safe. You have direct send vulnerability that just came out that allows people without authentication to direct send you emails, because that's an exploit they use for SMTP, for printers to send you emails. Now you have hackers who are able to exploit that to send other people spam emails and start infiltrating the organizations. So these are new exploits that are constantly evolving, and we're constantly busy trying to ensure we can do the best. Making sure that our clients are protected, that we're knowledgeable, because you got to be knowledgeable. So these are the type of stuff that you have to constantly be on top of. And being the CEO, that's what it falls on your shoulder. It's like, yes, you have a team behind you, but your team will only do X amount of effort, because that's not really their responsibility. The CEO is to constantly lead the team to move forward. Let's find the next exploit. What can we do to fix it? How fast can we fix it? What's the impact to clients? Now, if clients say, I don't want downtime, okay, how do we navigate that? These are the type of stuff that we constantly have to deal with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and how do you go about staying ahead of the older attacks, and how do you go about identifying these new ways of doing ransomware attacks and these new innovative, because they're always so creative, ways of doing cybersecurity like attacks to firms? How do you foresee that into the future?
So it's very difficult. No matter what I do, I'm probably not doing enough. There's always different forums, different groups. Oh, I'm on, let's say, 10 groups. Well, you're on the wrong 10. There's the other 10s. But then go to the other 10. Oh, well, that's what. There's the other 10. There's not enough you can do. I rely on, for example, every single day I do get, I am actually signed up for these Google alerts, which basically on the keywords of ransomware, all these, hack, different CPAs, tax. I get all these readings of what is in the news globally of what's going on. Okay. That's one way. Then I am also part of a lot of peer groups where around the world, I have various people part of groups. Every Friday, we actually do have meetings and discuss these things, just advice and other things, how people deal with these things. So we have peer groups where we also review these type of issues in different industries. What are you seeing? How are you doing it? How are you, attacking these type of issues? And then we also, the various other groups we're part of where that's also, we try to get the knowledge. Reading magazines, you're already a week behind of all the news. All the print type of, which I used to subscribe to all the print magazines, and I'd read it in my, free time, go to the bathroom, take a magazine. You're already a week to a month old. It's like, no, I'm sorry. Whatever you're reading there, it's patched, it's gone. Move on.
I think that's a really smart way of staying on top of it with the Google alerts. I applaud that. And how do you convey this risk into a small, medium-sized business owner that feels like they're not the target and usually it's just the big guys?
It's very challenging because everyone thinks it can't happen to me. That's the like the going theme of all small businesses, the mid-sized businesses that I work with. Oh yeah, I'm too small. Oh, who wants to go after me? What's the big, yeah, I have nothing. I can tell you that's the common theme with all the small businesses, the mid-sized businesses. Yeah, they go after Microsoft, they go after the big firms. If you want to talk about accounting firms, KPMG, you got the Markhams, you got all these other firms they can go after who have hundreds of employees, $1 billion, $1 million. I'm only a few 100,000. What's the big deal? That is a theme we always hear. Now, to
Yeah.
actually tell you the truth, though, the government did do a lot of new requirements. The FTC Safeguard Acts, the Safeguard Rule, it came out in 2008, but they put some teeth in it in the past year or two. Um, where it does now require all these, even small CPA firms, people with financial information, they are required to have a cybersecurity assessment. It's now a requirement. You're required to tell about your antivirus softwares, your firewalls, your MFA. These are all requirements now. And even from the insurance industries, I'm now filling out a lot of forms asking about the cyber insurance of the clients. One of the things we did notice now is if you don't have the proper things in place, you would be considered negligent, and you would have to pay. I think just this past week, Mount Sinai, I believe it was Mount Sinai, they were hit with also a ransomware. They're paying, I think it was 55 million, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up again. But the only reason I know, because it was personal, I went to Mount Sinai and I got letters offering money. They have to settle because why it was found that they were negligent. So insurance will pay X amount of dollars, but not more if you're negligent. So when you talk about small size firms, it's no longer, oh, it's not going to happen to me. What's the big deal? If financial information gets leaked out, okay, from your clients, they can actually go after you personally now if you were negligent. And that's where it puts more teeth when you talk about small businesses of who cares? I only have, let's say, even I only have 10 clients, one client makes no difference. Is because if you're negligent, the FTC safeguard rules allows them to go after you personally. And if you have insurance, insurance will say, well, guess what? You're negligent. Okay. It can't help you. It's like driving a car while you're intoxicated. I don't know if it's legally or not. Most insurance, which I believe, not an insurance salesman, but they would say, sorry, we can't, we're not going to insure you because you were breaking the law driving intoxicated. So that's what it is now with the FTC safeguard rules. So when we talk about small firms, that's one of the things we always hear is it's not going to happen to me. But I can tell you right now, I've dealt with a client who did not refuse. It's not going to happen to me. I don't want to invest. They got hit with ransomware. It was a small man shop, a one man shop. Okay. He had his few dozen clients, whatever he dealt with. Tax season was the biggest time for him. He had to consider, does he want to play ransomware or shut it down his business? There's no other way to do it. So that's the consideration small businesses now have to face. Do they want to actually be in business or do they want to shut it down? And worst case scenario, their clients can go after him also. So now it's a double whammy. You got no business, and now you're being sued. And
Yeah.
that's where small businesses now have to start kind of understanding the risk. It's things have changed. It is not the way it used to be. You have literally like cyber attacks, like we mentioned. One of the articles on my LinkedIn post even said in the United States, attacks are up 150%. It's like literally way up. It's like ridiculous already. Okay. But the problem is our understanding of these things is way down. We think as cybersecurity as an expense versus as being part of your business of operating a business. You have business insurance, you pay your electricity, you pay your internet, you pay your QuickBooks if you're using it, whatever you're using. Good. Cybersecurity is another one of those invoices you should be paying to be in business. I think a lot of the understanding is back in the early days, IT is viewed as an expense. What can I do to lower my expenses? Okay. I'll get, instead of using plastic goods, I use paper goods. I'll recycle. That's great. That's great for the environment, great for everything. But IT and cybersecurity is not an expense anymore. It's a way of doing business. And I think that's where the small businesses need to understand that.
Yeah, that's exactly why I started this podcast series and connecting with thought leaders, because that was a pattern that I kept spotting. Like smaller firms, you look at it as an expense. There's so much friction between embracing the solution and making the investment to protect themselves so that they can actually be in business and they can actually protect their clients. And I think the analogy you gave is spot on. It's kind of like a car. Nobody thinks they're going to get into an accident, right? But everybody needs insurance. Just in case something were to happen, you have the protection in place.
And like I said, right now, at least the government is trying to catch up. And I think that's also very important. Talk about big government, you like it or not, that's for a different podcast. But we're talking about the actual laws. In New York, New Jersey, where I'm based, you have that as of like a 2024. You are required to have an independent cybersecurity audit annually. You have to show that you can actually responsibly be in the business. You have to have a CISO. You have to have, who's your chief security officer? Who's that? You have to make sure you have your mandatory MFA. You have to have a incident response forms. You have to have scans and penetration testing. These are now requirements since 2024, which I'm happy
Yeah.
about. It's amazing. It's like in the healthcare industry, it's a little sad because it's a little behind. All these laws came first for financial and then healthcare. It's like, come on, what really matters, money or health? It seems like money, but the government they are catching up to the threat. And as you see, the DoD gets hacked all the time. They're spending billions. 2 years ago, MGM got hacked. His hardware store got hacked. They're spending millions. The one thing I can say is even the large ones, they are, at least Ace Hardware, they were up. I think they got hacked over the weekend. They're up by Monday morning already, which is like, wow. That's like, it's amazing because
It's
they
fast.
actually wrote that, they had a cybersecurity plan. They had an incident plan. What happens if something happens? Where's our backups? How are we protecting ourselves? Okay.
Mhm.
Small businesses don't do that. They think, why should I spend a few dollars to be in business? And that's why you hear a lot of these horror stories. Oh, I have ransomware. I was down for a month. Well, yeah. Did you invest in your backups? Did you invest in cybersecurity? Did you invest in any of that? But then they complain and well, I didn't think so. I was too small. All right, that's what happens.
That's the consequences. Yeah. And so, what trends have you been seeing lately in the industry related to AI and cybersecurity?
AI itself is a nightmare. You can right now, you can go into like a chat GBT, you can try to find an exploit, and you can even tell it, a lot of times it'll to try to say, oh, we don't condone criminal activity, so we're not going to do anything. You can say, oh, no, I'm doing this for a lab environment. You can try bypass it. It's pretty scary that you can write vulnerabilities. You can say, I'm using this amount of this type of, let's say 365. I want to do this. It will show you what scripts to write. It will tell you, like, for lab purposes of what you can do. I don't want to say on a podcast what I've done, but because we're not going to give ideas to people, but it is scary. And I think with AI I think now it's even more than ever, people should see how impactful and resourceful AI is. Forget about the criminal activities. The fact that you can ask anything, it will scan the web and everything. And you can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, you can use Claude, you can use Grok, whatever your forum is, you can actually tell it what to try to use and what to do. It will get you, I'd say, right now, get you 90% there. With if you have a little IT knowledge, you can fill up that 10% gap. But it's scary. You can tell it to whatever you want, and it will do it again under lab circumstances. I'm doing to test something, but it will provide you that information. That is even why I feel like, and that's where you have the zero day trust, where you have like literally that second. This is where the at least the firewalls I put in, it actually communicates across the globe. Anytime there's a security breach anywhere, automatically updates itself. It's not going to. It's no like firmware that I have to go in there. Because think about it, I have like literally dozens and dozens of over 100 clients. To go into all my firewalls is a little asinine for me to go, okay, I got to do a patch update. This does it automatically. And that's where, again, when you have zero trust day type of firewalls, You never have to worry about updating firmware for the latest exploit. It happens automatically. And I think with AI, that actually brings more to the forefront of how much it's being impacted by AI and how quickly you can create these type of vulnerabilities, and technology just has to keep up with it.
What has been a little bit frustrating for you right now, and what's working really well for you and your firm?
Like I said, the frustration is when you clearly see vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
I'll give you one example. I have a client. He's in the financial industry. I ran a cybersecurity assessment for his office, and I showed him how to access his bank account. I showed him he had $25 million in his bank. I showed it to him. I go, this is what you have in your bank. Okay, these are your passwords. I showed him all the exploits. I gave him a quote for cybersecurity to do his whole office. Okay, we're talking about 10 to 15 people. And he goes, oh, I can't afford it. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Between you and me, we both know you could afford it. Okay. So again, it's the mindset. You think I'm an expense, and why should I go for an expense? Okay? When I'm not McDonald's, I'm not here to be the cheapest burger. Do you want a quality burger, or do you want the cheapest burger? Okay. Want quality, good. Quality costs you. You go to a restaurant, it's going to cost you. If you want a Wagyu beef burger, okay, you want pre-processed that tastes like garbage, but you call it a burger, again, that's a cheaper IT. You can always get the cheaper IT, 100% go. Okay. But if you need the
Exactly.
quality, then that's going to cost. I go, to protect you, this is your risk. Do you want to protect it or not? And he's like, no, no, no. I'm like, something. Okay, here's your risk. I gave him a risk assessment, a risk security letter saying, okay, these are your risks. You're warned about it. If God forbid something happens, don't hold me liable. This is a risk that you're willing to accept. So these are the type of stuff that we deal with. That's frustration, is like, how do we get people, and especially I think I don't want to do ageism where I make fun of older people, younger people, but I think the problem in my age group are people born before 2000. We view technology as that expense. We view technology as something that back in the old world, I don't need a computer. It's nice to have a business to do a computer, but okay, I don't need it. I don't need, we had the Blackberries. What else do we have? We use faxes. And that's when you had the days of, the viruses. That was it. It's an expense. Something happens, good, I'll put an antivirus on there. I'll get rid of it. Things have changed. It's no longer back in the 2000s. And I think the younger generation understands that because they're busy on their smartphones all the time, and they understand how technology works. They understand the exploits. It's like interesting. It happened last week. I went to a potential client. The father was like, ugh, the son was arguing with his father. No, dad, we need it. What do you mean? Look at that. He's like, I should just talk to the younger crowd because they understand it. They get it. They understand things have changed. They get it. That's the biggest frustration, is like trying to tell someone who always viewed IT as an expense, you don't need cybersecurity anymore. I just have put in a semantic, dumb, ACV. Okay, I'll clean the machine. Doesn't work like that anymore. When you talk about cybersecurity ransomware, you're literally talking about taking all your potential files, encrypting it. You have no access to it. It now has everything towards everything your clients, all the information with all the new legal laws. It puts you literally on the hook. And if you can still tell me it's not important, sorry, you're not a client that we should be working with, because I can't deal with clients that can't understand the risk. It's a risk I'm trying to identify and help them with. And some people just don't understand that. And that's the biggest frustration. And it's not like I'm telling you, by the way, things have changed and things are up by literally this year 150%. It's not like that. Okay. You can't. I do the cybersecurity assessment. I show you your vulnerability. I show you your $25 million in your bank. I give you your passwords to your Chase bank. I give it to you. Yeah, we don't care. Like, okay.
Yeah, that just blows my mind. I can't believe that. And so now that we've talked about the frustrations, what's been really working for you? Have you been able to leverage AI to help your workload? How have you been able to not only keep up with the newest ways of cyber attacks, but also like the newest technologies and navigating those waters in the safest way possible?
Sure. So it seems that from my perspective is technology is our strength. And there are IT firms that like to hoard technology, meaning if you need something that's technology worthy, come to us and we'll take care of it for you. Versus my approach is I like to show my clients the power of technology and what you can do yourself to enable your world to be even faster, better. I'll give two examples. For example, even resetting a password. Okay, the MGM hack that we discussed 2 years ago that happened, it was a beautiful, beautiful hack, social engineering. Someone called up the help desk, said, "Hey, I'm John Doe. I'm the CEO. Please reset my password." Boom, reset the password. Done. That's how they got in. It was a beautiful. It was, yeah. It was like simple, simple. People think it's everything has to be complicated. Simple. Social engineering. So one thing we use now is we have apps on we give to our clients where when they call us in to reset a password, it's like you go into the bank. It sends you those OTP, the one-time passwords. So you read us the code, we'll do it, and we'll reset your password. But you have to have that OTP account thing. We won't change your password without it. That's one of the things we
Nice.
learned from that hack. Second thing is we have bots. We have AI bots on our side, ticking sides to make things faster. For example, user accounts takes about 5 minutes because our bot gets a ticket in there. Our bot automatically does everything for it. We don't get involved in that anymore. So also, even when we get tickets from an AI perspective, our ticketing system does have AI. It gives our tech solutions of what to do. If it looks through our old tickets saying, "Oh, you had this before, look at this ticket. This was the resolution." So it allows us to be better IT professionals and to respond quicker and more efficiently to our clients.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like AI has like four main purposes. One is to reduce the time that it takes for something to get done or for you to get back to your client, which I think you're doing an outstanding job. Another one is also reducing your cost because at the end of the day, you spend less time, that's less payroll, and it's more efficient. Then generating more revenue would be another avenue that AI can really help a business with. And another one that you've embraced really well is making your business more intelligent. So I think you're really leveraging the best of AI at the moment. I'm really happy to hear that.
Yeah, like I said, like to me, it's like one of the things as being which you mentioned before, being the CEO and entrepreneur is what can I do to improve my business? Like you mentioned it does reduce headcount. And when you say reduce headcount, it's not about okay, I'm doing cheaper. Those savings get passed on. Again, there's always expenses that gets passed on to your clients, saying, "Hey, I'm leveraging technology. I can do things faster, quicker. I don't have to have 20 people. I'm good with my company because we're just efficient." I think, and that's where I've seen other, like I said, the McDonald's IT, it's all about just throw numbers at it, throw people at things, problems, not understanding what the problem is and never resolving the root cause of those problems. With AI, we're able to identify, for example, we're seeing a pattern and it identifies the pattern and we're able to now to look at the root cause and be able to resolve that versus just throwing people at tickets and just closing tickets. So it helps us become even better professionals.
That's the most important thing, like you said, finding those patterns and like really alleviating the root cause. Like that's where true value comes in. And so what metrics are you most focused on improving right now?
So right now we're looking at the one touch tickets. It's basically, and that's where the AI really comes in. It's basically, we're trying to find how can we get a ticket, look at it, resolve it, and close it without going back and forth. Hey, this, that. It's like we put bots on all our user machines where it provides, for example, what's the computer name, the resources it's being used. So we have all that information already before the user, tells us all this information. So now we have a problem on my machine. Oh, any Adobe installed. Half the time, as you know, they don't tell us what your machine name is, what's your callback number. But now we don't even need that because when they submit the ticket, because we have the agents on every machine and they just click in it, it gathers that information. We can literally just go click, boom, push out, we're done. So it's the one touch type of tickets that we're looking into kind of increasing is what's the percentage of us constantly have to go back and forth versus what's the percentage of being able to look at the ticket, have all the information, and being able to close it that first time.
I love that. When I was doing consulting for Deloitte, one of the biggest things is like getting the right information for the client for you to actually start doing the work. But if AI can help you collect all of this ahead of time, I think it's brilliant because it's shortening that cycle. And then perhaps you're able to take on more clients down the line because you're not spending so much time just waiting around for the client. And so where do you see the industry and your company going like 6 to 12 months from now?
So we are growing. We have first time appointments constantly being booked. We're constantly running cybersecurity assessments on people. We are actually projecting to grow probably about 30% this year, just for the amount of workloads we're getting and the requests we're getting. And that's what we're projecting. And that's all that's left is by what, 6 months left, 5 months left to the end of the year. But that's what we're projecting to be fully grown. Like we're already onboarded clients, small businesses, CPA firms. We even have an auto dealership. It's small businesses who are looking to become compliant with state laws and also secure. So we are projecting to literally grow. We are expanding. We're constantly looking at new tools. For example, I go to conferences just to learn what new tools is out there we can leverage. Lots of cool things out there. That's what we're pushing out to our clients these days, just to make it. People think cybersecurity, just sign me up and we're done. There's a lot of pain in the ass type of work on our side and the client side where can't do this. We understand you can't do it. That's a security risk that we have to block you from. And they get frustrated by it. But with new tools, you have different methods of allowing certain things to identify, okay, these activities are allowed versus these activities are not allowed. And being able to then, from a metrics perspective, and be able to quantify, for example, let's go back to Adobe. Anyone who wants to run Adobe, totally fine. No password necessary. Run it. We trust Adobe. But at the same time, being able to block things that we don't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm busy with constantly is looking at new tools to enhance the experience, because cybersecurity is a pain in the ass in itself. People are never happy with it. MFA, I have to use. I have even today, I don't have a cell phone. Well, you need MFA. I don't know. I'm like, you're telling me you have no cell phone. I have no cell phone. I'm like, no, you have a cell phone. Well, I have a cell phone, but it's not for work. I'm like, I understand that, but you have a Chase authentication on your phone. Can they send you an OTP account? Well, they're allowed to. It's not work. Okay, this is not work either. This is security. We want to make sure, but that's what we deal with. So it's trying to find the right solutions for our clients to making sure they don't have a miserable experience.
That's super important. That's what I like to call cyber friction. Sometimes the employees are very hesitant to actually complying with cybersecurity. And what you're doing is really perfect. Finding the best solution for my clients so that they can do the work without hindering the performance. And honestly, congratulations. I've seen a lot of growth in the cybersecurity space, but 30% projected increase is phenomenal. Are you mostly serving right now accounting firms and healthcare? Or how are you getting in touch with these CPA firms and whatnot? How can somebody that is listening to this right now would normally find you? I know you mentioned something about the assessments, but what avenue?
So if you want, you can go on caretechnologygroup.com. That's CARE, technologygroup.com. In there, we offer a free assessment. Again, a very simple one. Nothing
Mhm.
crazy. We can just check things out for you remotely.
Okay.
This is not a full-blown thing. You can reach me at Isaac at caretechnologygroup.com. And I can tell publicly, cell phone 917-664-8262. Like I said, that's how people usually reach me. Most of my clients are word of mouth these days. It's basically, I'm just growing that. I'm not advertising right now just because we're really growing fast. And like I said, we like to treat every client with the proper respect of their time, the energy that they're going to invest in this. So like I said, with word of mouth, people know us, we're growing, we're dealing with them, onboarding them, securing them. If anyone's interested, they can reach out and we can provide the same service.
That's phenomenal. And I love the fact that they can do the assessment remotely. And it's only going to take them a couple of minutes to make sure. And they can go ahead and contact you. But yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people in this industry in particular rely on word of mouth, which is great. But at the same time, it's not very predictable.
It's
And
not. But
so,
one of the things we're having especially with cybersecurity, where people who are infected or affected by it, they're the ones that say, "Okay, I have a great, I have a great firm. 'Cause it happened to me. They helped me. Hey, let them help you." And that's how a lot of it. Again, with the state laws, people are now, once it happens, people don't realize that they don't keep up with the legalities of these things. So they're like, oh, so new laws coming out every day. Who pays attention? But when it happens to one of your clients and they learn they have to pay attention, that's when the word spreads. And that's when other people say, really? Oh my gosh, let me call them up. Let's make sure. And that's where really how things progress.
yeah, and I think that's where something like this comes in really handy, like being able to educate people so that they're not being reactive towards a cyber attack. They're being much more proactive and aware that cybersecurity is not like a nice to have, it's a must have because every business nowadays is a technology business.
And
And
by the way, it's a very good point. People think I'm a CPA. I'm not technology. No. You are. You use technology. You use email. You use your computer. You use a phone, your cell phone. All that is technology. And all that can either help you or it's going to break you.
exactly. And what would be a message that you would like the audience to take home after listening to this episode?
I think the message is, and I think people must realize this, things have changed. And that's the consistent message I'm telling people. Things have changed. Do not assume the world it is as innocent as it was back in 2000. Okay. In the past year itself, cyber attacks have been up 150%. They do not discriminate between big businesses or small businesses. Money is money. $100,000 or $1,000,000. It makes no difference. Okay. And I think you, the audience, needs to kind of realize that. And what steps are you taking to ensure that you will be in business by next year? Versus the alternative, if you get hacked and you have ransomware, now you're gonna have to pay ransomware. And is it large? How large? Are you able to afford to be in business? Are you able to afford lawsuits that will come out of these things if the personal information gets released? And that's the thing that people need to take away message. People need to think about and understand how things have changed and what risks are you willing to take.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's actually exactly what I want people to take home, actually. Thank you so much for elaborating on that, Isaac. I'm so excited to see what you're gonna accomplish after our conversation today. Increasing your revenue by 30%. I feel like you definitely have the capacity to handle that. And thank you so much for being here today. I deeply appreciate all of these insights that you brought to the table.
Pleasure.